In the terrifying universe of the Alien franchise, few images are as iconic or as unsettling as the alien eggs, also known as ovomorphs. These grotesque, leathery sacs mark the beginning of the Xenomorph's nightmarish life cycle, lying in wait to unleash one of science fiction's most lethal predators. But the horror doesn't stop at a single form. Throughout the franchise, multiple types of ovomorphs have been introduced, each engineered with a specific purpose and armed with their own uniquely dangerous traits. From the moment these eggs stir, the countdown to terror begins. This video explores every known variant from films, comics, and lore. This is every type of alien egg in the alien lore history Explore. Before we get into this explanation though, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to the channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Regular alien egg. Remember Ridley Scott's 1979 film Alien? The regular alien egg, or ovomorph, is the first stage in the xenomorph life cycle, which was introduced in this movie. These eggs are bioorganic containers produced by a xenomorph queen and are designed to house and protect the parasitic facehugger until it detects a nearby host. Its appearance and lifespan are noteworthy. Appearance-wise, the egg is leathery, organic, and roughly a meter tall. It has a 4-petal opening at the top which peels open like a flower when a host approaches. The lifespan of an egg is unknown, as it can remain dormant for long periods, sometimes even years, lying in wait until it senses life through temperature, motion, or even carbon dioxide. Now, each egg contains a single facehugger, a spider-like parasite that springs out when the egg opens, latching onto a host's face to implant an embryo. One of the most grotesque biological details of the egg that emphasizes its alien nature is the acidic, translucent gel that coats the interior. When the egg opens, the inside is revealed to be lined with a slimy, semi-transparent gel which serves several purposes. One is protection. The gel cushions and protects the facehugger within, keeping it suspended and ready to spring the moment a host is detected. Second is for preservation. Its composition may help preserve the facehugger in a dormant state for extended periods, even years. One might ask, what's the biological function of this gel? Although it's not fully explained in the films, the gel is often assumed to have mildly acidic properties, in line with the xenomorph species' tendency to use acid as a biological trait, seen most dramatically in their blood. The unsettling look of the gel, shiny, organic, and almost alive, adds to the egg's visceral horror. Combined with the sudden violent eruption of the facehugger, it transforms the ovomorph from a dormant object into a biomechanical trap, oozing with deadly intent. And what purpose is this egg? The answer to that is keeping the race alive. The regular ovomorph exists solely to propagate the species. Once the facehugger implants an embryo into a host, it dies, and the xenomorph life cycle continues as the embryo matures and eventually bursts from the host's chest. This seemingly passive object is actually a biological weapon perfectly engineered to trap the curious and deliver death with surgical precision. The regular alien egg is not just the beginning of the xenomorph, it's the beginning of the end for anyone who gets too close. The alien queen's egg sac was first prominently seen in Aliens from 1986. This sac is fused to the queen's abdomen, allowing her to continuously lay alien eggs at an industrial rate. It's a massive, grotesque biological structure, designed courtesy of James Cameron, that plays a crucial role in the xenomorph reproductive cycle. The egg sac functions much like a reproductive organ, producing and releasing fully formed ovomorphs at regular intervals. The queen remains immobile while attached, often suspended or anchored in a hive-like environment entirely focused on laying eggs. The structure is veined, slimy, and pulsating, giving it a disturbing organic appearance, as if it's a living extension of the queen herself. The sac is a source of mass production of eggs, since the queen can produce hundreds, possibly thousands of eggs, depending on environmental conditions and availability of hosts. This rapid egg-laying capacity allows a xenomorph hive to spread incredibly fast, especially in isolated or enclosed environments like ships, colonies, or derelict structures. However, there's a certain vulnerability to it as well. While the queen herself is incredibly strong and intelligent, the egg sac is a critical weak point. In Aliens, Ellen Ripley targets the sac with a flamethrower, knowing this will provoke the queen and disrupt the breeding process. The queen can detach herself from the sac in extreme situations, tearing away from it to pursue threats or relocate. This process appears painful, but demonstrates the queen's adaptive survival instincts. It's as sickening as it is terrifying. The egg sac adds a chilling layer to the xenomorph mythology, reinforcing the theme of relentless parasitic reproduction. It mirrors insect hives, particularly ant and termite queens, yet twists the concept into something far more nightmarish. The sheer scale of the sac, combined with its grotesque design, makes it one of the most disturbing elements of the franchise's bio-horror aesthetic. Egg-morphed egg. Have you ever heard of the process called egg morphing? Allow us to explain. The egg-morphed egg is one of the most disturbing and mysterious concepts in the Alien franchise. Unlike the standard queen-laid ovomorph, the egg-morphed egg is created through a horrifying process where a living host is biologically transformed into an alien egg by a xenomorph without the need for a queen. The process is called eggmorph. Egg morphing is a rare alternative method of reproduction, most notably depicted in the deleted scene from Ridley Scott's original 1979 film, Alien. In that scene, Ripley discovers her crewmates Brett and Dallas cocooned in the alien derelict. Brett is already transforming into an egg, while Dallas is still alive and begging for death. The process involves a xenomorph, typically a drone or warrior, capturing a human and secreting a resinous, hive-like substance to immobilize them. Over time, the host's body is biochemically broken down and reshaped into an ovomorph, essentially turning into an incubator for a new facehugger. Egg morphing is arguably even more horrific than standard egg laying because the host is conscious or semi-conscious during at least part of the transformation. It removes the need for a queen, implying that a lone xenomorph can begin repopulating the species using any available hosts. The final result is indistinguishable from a regular queen-laid egg, complete facehugger inside. Egg morphing has a complicated place in Alien lore. It was cut from the theatrical release of Alien, but included in later director's cuts and novelizations. While rarely observed, the idea supports the concept that xenomorphs can adapt their reproductive strategy to suit their environment and available resources. The egg-morphed egg showcases the terrifying adaptability of the xenomorph species. It turns a biological dead end, being stranded without a queen, into an opportunity to rebuild the hive from a single survivor. Emergency egg. Although we call it the controversial egg, the emergency egg has sparked years of debate among fans due to its mysterious nature and lack of explanation. It's a rare and controversial element in the Alien franchise, introduced in Alien 3 from 1992. The term emergency egg is a fan nickname used to describe the single alien egg found aboard the Sulaco at the start of Alien 3. This egg contains a facehugger, which ultimately leads to the infection of Lieutenant Ripley and a dog, Ox, resulting in the birth of a new xenomorph and setting the tragic events of the film into motion. Why was this egg so mysterious? Because there was no queen left alive on the Sulaco to lay it. At the end of Aliens, Ripley destroys the alien queen and her egg sac on LV-426. The surviving characters, Ripley, Newt, Hicks, and Bishop, escape aboard the Sulaco, yet in Alien 3, an egg has somehow been placed on the ship with no clear explanation as to how. There are many theories behind the emergency egg. It's a backup from the queen. Some speculate the queen may have secreted a single egg onto the ship during the final battle, possibly hidden in her body or laid quickly before dying. This would make it an emergency egg, a last-ditch reproductive effort. However, this is never shown or supported by the film footage. It's said that the early drafts and storyboards for Alien 3 included ideas like two facehuggers surviving, one of which impregnates Ripley with a queen embryo, suggesting intentional redundancy in the xenomorph life cycle. These ideas never made it to the final cut, leaving the egg's presence unexplained. Still, many view it as a retcon or plot device that made the plot convenient, a way to continue the story with a new xenomorph in the third movie, even if it bends logic. It's sometimes accepted as an off-screen event, though this frustrates fans looking for continuity and realism. As per fan interpretations, some expanded universe materials and fan theories propose that certain xenomorph drones may be able to produce a limited number of eggs in the absence of a queen, tying back to the egg morphing concept or suggesting a built-in reproductive backup. It could also be that the species may have a biological directive to ensure survival at all costs, enabling a queen or even a drone to plant a last-chance egg under extreme circumstances. The emergency egg represents one of the great unanswered questions of the Alien franchise. Whether it's a queen's final act, a biological contingency, or a storytelling shortcut, its mere existence reinforces a terrifying idea. The xenomorphs always find a way to survive and return. Titan egg. While not officially featured in the mainline films, the Titan egg is often referred to when discussing the enhanced or specialized ovomorphs found in Titan published media. The Titan egg is a lesser-known variation of the Xenomorph egg found in the expanded universe of the Alien franchise, particularly within Titan Books' series of official novels and other non-cinematic lore. The term Titan egg isn't always used explicitly in-universe. Still, it generally refers to an experimental or mutated ovomorph, either created through genetic tampering or naturally evolved in extreme conditions. In Titan Books' Alien novels, like Alien: The Cold Forge and Alien Into Charybdis, we often see modified eggs that are stronger, more resilient, or behave differently from standard ovomorphs. These are eggs that react to stimuli in unique ways, like showing greater aggression, enhanced detection range, or even containing variant facehuggers. For example, royal facehuggers or multi-embryo carriers. There have been instances where Weyland-Yutani or other corporations attempt to engineer or manipulate the eggs for bioweapons research, leading to unstable or hyper-lethal results. Thus, Titan egg becomes shorthand among fans for these non-standard, highly dangerous ovomorphs explored in the Titan-published expanded universe. The implication within the universe is that the Titan eggs represent how dangerous it can be to tamper with the Xenomorph lifecycle. While regular ovomorphs are already deadly, Titan eggs show that corporate hubris and scientific overreach can produce something far worse: Xenomorphs that are faster, more intelligent, or more reproductively efficient. Whether evolved or engineered, these eggs represent the next stage of terror, a reminder that with Xenomorphs, there's always something worse waiting to hatch. Royal egg. While not featured prominently in the core films, the concept of the royal egg has been explored in expanded media such as comics, games, and novels, especially from Dark Horse Comics and Titan Books. It's considered a key part of the Xenomorph reproductive contingency system. The royal egg is a rare and critical element in the Alien expanded universe, representing a specialized ovomorph that contains a royal facehugger, a unique variant designed to create a new alien queen. A royal egg looks similar to a standard Xenomorph egg but houses a royal facehugger instead of a normal one. The primary purpose of this facehugger is to implant a queen embryo into a host, ensuring the continuation of the hive if the current queen is destroyed or absent. And the royal facehugger is larger and more robust than a standard facehugger. It's often described with darker or more pronounced features like spines, ridges, and claws. It implants a single queen embryo, which, after gestation, will emerge as a queen chestburster. In some cases, it may sacrifice itself after implanting, like standard facehuggers. In Alien 3, while it's never explicitly shown, the emergency egg theorized to have infected Ripley may have been a royal egg since she carries a queen embryo. Some stories expand on this site, including Alien the RPG, Alien Isolation, and some novels. They show missions where finding or containing a royal egg is of critical importance. In Alien Genocide from Dark Horse Comics, they explore the Hive Wars, and royal eggs are central to the battle for dominance between rival queens. But the royal egg comes with its own perils. Once a queen is born, she can often begin producing thousands of standard eggs, rapidly creating a hive. It's almost unstoppable. The royal eggs are often defended fiercely by existing xenomorphs or hidden deep within the hive to avoid detection. It's the most sought-after egg by corporations. Weyland-Yutani and other factions may attempt to obtain royal eggs for bioweapon research, often with catastrophic results. The royal egg is the keystone of the xenomorph hive's resilience. Its existence ensures that the species can rebuild from a single host, no matter how devastating the loss. It also adds a chilling layer of strategic intelligence to the xenomorphs. They don't just breed, they plan for survival. Spore egg. Unlike the classic ovomorph, which contains a facehugger, the spore egg contains microscopic airborne pathogens that initiate a different infection process. And a different kind of monster. The spore egg is a unique and disturbing variant of the traditional xenomorph egg found in Alien Covenant from 2017. It's part of Ridley Scott's prequel storyline that explores the origins of the xenomorph species. Also referred to as a neomorph spore pod, the spore egg is a fungus-like growth that appears organic, bulbous, and plant-like. Rather than opening to release a creature, it ruptures when disturbed, releasing airborne spores that can infect any nearby host. These eggs are part of the Neomorph lifecycle, predecessor or cousin to the Xenomorph, and represent a more biological and environmental approach to infection rather than the face-to-face horror of the traditional facehugger. The infection process involves first the spores being released, like when a spore egg is stepped on or disturbed, it emits tiny motes or spores, invisible or barely visible particles. The spores enter the host through the ears, nose, or mouth, affecting them internally. A neomorph embryo forms quickly inside the host, usually maturing in a matter of hours. Instead of a chest burster, the neomorph may erupt from the back or throat, depending on where the spores enter. Appearance-wise, they're small, about the size of a football, and resemble a fleshy mushroom or bulb, often growing in clusters. It has a wet, succulent texture and pulsates slightly, and is found in forests, caves, and other natural environments. The origin of the spore eggs dates to the days of David's genetic experiments using the black goo pathogen from Prometheus. The spores were a result of these experiments, as seen in Alien Covenant. On the engineer's homeworld, David unleashed the pathogen, which wiped out the native population and led to a series of mutations, including the formation of these spore-producing organisms. They represent a blend of engineer biotechnology and evolving alien biology, showing how the xenomorph species and related creatures might arise from both natural evolution and artificial manipulation. What's dangerous about spore eggs is that they're hard to detect. Unlike ovomorphs, spore eggs blend in with the environment, making them easy to overlook. They're silent killers since the hosts often don't realize they're infected until it's too late. No queen is required. These eggs grow naturally in infected environments, making them a decentralized form of reproduction. The spore egg shows the terrifying versatility of alien biology. It represents an evolutionary or experimental detour from the structured xenomorph life cycle, offering a more insidious form of infection, one that's airborne, invisible, nearly impossible to avoid. Neomorph Spore Cluster. The Neomorph Spore Cluster is a pivotal and terrifying element introduced in Alien Covenant from 2017, serving as the environmental trigger for the Neomorph's life cycle. Unlike the traditional Xenomorph Ovomorph, which is laid by a queen and contains a facehugger, the spore cluster is a fungus-like growth that spreads airborne spores, infecting hosts invisibly and without direct contact. A neomorph spore cluster is a biologically mutated plant-like organism that grows in environments infected by the black goo pathogen. These clusters are fleshy, organic, and bulbous in appearance. They usually grow in natural environments, like on logs, cave floors, or under foliage, contain microscopic motes or spores that are released into the air when disturbed. They appear mostly inert and harmless until triggered. As mentioned earlier in the spore egg section, the infection process is airborne and indirect, making it one of the most insidious reproductive methods in the Alien universe. In the movie Alien Covenant, Ledward, crew member of the Covenant, is infected after stepping on a spore cluster while exploring the Engineer planet. Spores enter through his ears, and hours later, a backburster neomorph erupts from it. Hallett is infected similarly via nasal entry and suffers a throat-burster event. These scenes highlight the biological horror of neomorph reproduction: silent, invisible, and unstoppable once begun. To refresh your memory, these clusters were created as a mutated byproduct of the black goo pathogen, which David unleashed on the Engineer's homeworld. These clusters are part of a natural evolutionary process as the black goo re-engineers the biosphere into a breeding ground for parasitic organisms. The neomorph spore cluster is the ultimate stealth weapon of alien biology, a passive-looking growth that turns nature itself into a death trap. It doesn't chase you, it doesn't roar, it just waits quietly for you to come too close, then rewrites your biology from the inside out. Biomechanical Variant Egg. This is a rare experimental or evolved version of the classic xenomorph egg, often seen in expanded universe media, concept art, fan-theorized variants rooted in engineer biotechnology or David's experiments. The biomechanical variant egg refers to a unique form of the xenomorph ovomorph that blends biological and mechanical traits, more extreme and refined than the standard biomechanical look from Aliens. This variant egg is a visually and structurally enhanced form of the traditional ovomorph, featuring metallic or synthetic components visibly fused with organic tissues. It reflects a more artificial and weaponized design, possibly created through genetic engineering, biomechanical augmentation, or alien technology, such as the engineer influence. Think of it as the designer egg in the xenomorph family, more durable, intelligent, and purpose-built for highly efficient reproduction and tactical deployment. Its origins are unclear, but it could be the result of being engineered by the engineers using advanced biotech to improve the xenomorph reproductive process. These eggs could be used in controlled military or experimental environments rather than wild hives. In Alien Covenant, David's obsession with creating the perfect organism may have led to the development of more advanced eggs, incorporating mechanical enhancements to improve survivability, infection rates, and even tactical behavior. In some fan theories and expanded media, hives that survive for long periods may develop more advanced egg structures, either through mutation or environmental adaptation. Their possible functions include providing enhanced survivability, as they are designed to survive extreme conditions such as vacuum, heat, and chemical attacks. They could be activated remotely or via sensor triggers, which is useful in engineered facilities or weapons labs. They're capable of housing more than one embryo or specialized facehuggers, e.g. for specific host species, and possibly play a role in controlling or communicating xenomorphs, linking to hive and mind functions. During a lab scene in Alien Covenant, David's experimentation room hints at non-traditional eggs possibly modified with mechanical precision. In the extended universe, the biomechanical egg is a popular concept in Alien fan canon for next-gen xenomorphs. Synthetic egg. As the name suggests, this egg is artificial. The synthetic egg is a theoretical or expanded universe variant of the xenomorph ovomorph, representing an artificial or artificially engineered version of the traditional xenomorph egg. It's not officially canon in the main Alien film series, but has been explored in expanded media, fan theories, and it's hinted at through the experiments of David in Alien Covenant. This concept symbolizes humanity's, or a synthetic's, attempt to replicate or control the xenomorph lifecycle for weaponization, experimentation, or synthetic evolution. The scene where we see the synthetic egg is when Captain Oram explores the ruins of the engineer city with David, and he's led to a dark chamber containing several eggs. These eggs are symmetrical, smooth, and refined, unlike the leathery, more natural eggs laid by a queen. One opens before Oram's eyes, releasing a facehugger that immediately attaches to it. The novel Alien, The Cold Forge has a sighting of a synthetic egg when the company attempts to grow xenomorphs artificially, including manipulating embryos and eggs in a lab setting. In the novel Alien Into Charybdis, there are hints at engineered containment and delivery systems for alien organisms. The Alien RPG from Free League Publishing features experimental eggs and facehuggers grown in corporate biolabs, like LaSalle Bionational, for controlled infection scenarios. A synthetic egg is an artificially created ovomorph built or grown by non-organic means, typically by androids like David or human science teams such as Weyland-Yutani researchers. It mimics the function of a natural xenomorph egg but may contain certain modifications, enhancements, or flaws due to its non-natural origin. Their origins are from David's lab in Alien Covenant, where he creates several xenomorph prototypes, experimenting with various lifeforms and the black goo pathogen. His ultimate goal is to perfect the organism, and the eggs seen in his lab may be synthetic recreations, not laid by a queen. These eggs are refined and symmetrical, clean biological design, suggesting controlled engineering. They also find their origins in Weyland-Yutani bioweapons research facilities. In the expanded lore, like Alien Isolation and the comics and RPG, Weyland-Yutani attempts to clone, synthesize, and control xenomorph eggs for use as weapons or biological assets. Synthetic eggs could be mass-produced, allowing for controlled infection scenarios or customizable xenomorph types. These eggs have a cleaner outer shell and may open via engineered triggers or programmable stimuli. They typically contain a facehugger, possibly a variant like a dual host. The synthetic egg raises some chilling philosophical and narrative questions. Number 1. Are we playing God? What happens when humans or androids replicate the xenomorph without fully understanding it? 2. Are we losing control? Could synthetic eggs malfunction, mutate, or behave unpredictably? 3. Are we corrupting nature? The egg represents the perversion of a perfect, terrifying lifeform through artificial meddling. And 4. Is this the industrialization of horror? The idea of mass-producing alien eggs for profit or warfare feeds into Alien's central theme of corporate greed versus nature's wrath. Water-based egg variant. The idea of a marine-adapted xenomorph reproductive stage surfaced in concept art, comics, and fan lore, while not featuring prominently in the main Alien film series. The concept fits naturally within the adaptable and parasitic nature of the species. The water-based egg variant is a speculative or expanded universe adaptation of the classic xenomorph ovomorph, engineered and evolved to survive and function in aquatic environments. A water-based egg is a modified or evolved ovomorph that can exist submerged in water, rivers, swamps, oceans, or flooded installations without losing its viability. These eggs are adapted to deploy facehuggers in underwater environments, allowing the xenomorph species to infect aquatic or amphibious hosts or catch unsuspecting humanoid hosts by surprise. The shell is reinforced with a gelatinous hydrophobic membrane to prevent waterlogging or pressure damage. It may contain a thicker, denser gel to protect the facehugger and retain warmth and chemical stability. It's either fully aquatic, gilled, or amphibious, capable of rapid underwater movement, and it can lie dormant on lake beds, cave pools, shipwrecks, or within underwater engineer facilities. Typically, a water-based egg would serve the purpose of infecting aquatic or amphibious species like fish, reptiles, or aquatic engineers, while functioning in flooded or submerged facilities like derelict ships or biolabs. It also expands the xenomorph reproductive cycle to wet ecosystems, just as the spores do for forests and jungles. Possible facehugger variants include aquatic facehuggers, which have webbed limbs, gill-like respiratory structures, and enhanced swimming abilities. The amphibious facehugger is capable of brief underwater operation, followed by land-based pursuit. In high conductivity environments, like saltwater, the egg might use bioelectric impulses to trigger opening. While it hasn't appeared often, some Alien EU material, like Alien's Sea of Sorrows and Alien's Colonial Marines, implies the existence of aquatic hives and mutated marine xenomorphs. However, eggs aren't always shown in the water. The concept fits naturally into these stories, however. The water-based egg would allow the Alien franchise to expand into new environments, adding both visual variety and terrifying unpredictability. Imagine a diver explores a submerged ruin. A glowing pod pulses from beneath a bed of alien coral. Bubbles arise. A flower-like top unfurls, and from the darkness, something fast and webbed lunges. Sounds like a fun idea for an underwater alien movie. Buried ovomorph. This isn't just a separate biological egg type, it's a strategic environmental variant, a regular ovomorph that has been intentionally or naturally concealed to ambush unsuspecting hosts. The buried ovomorph is a terrifying variation of the traditional xenomorph egg that lies hidden beneath soil, debris, or alien terrain, waiting in complete stillness for the perfect moment to unleash a facehugger. Despite being buried, the egg remains fully active and reactive, waiting to detect heat, movement, or carbon dioxide from a nearby life form. Its cue to open and release the facehugger. The buried ovomorph is stealth incarnate. You won't even know it's there since it's invisible to the naked eye when hidden under terrain. It triggers ambush infections with no time to react and can remain dormant for years, possibly even centuries. Imagine walking through a forgotten colony site only to step on loose dirt, just as the egg beneath senses your breath and opens. It's appeared several times across the franchise, including in Aliens from 1986 during the Hive scene. In the Hive on LV-426, many eggs are partially embedded in the floor and resin-coated. While not deeply buried, this is an example of environmental camouflage, hard to see until it's too late. Alien Isolation and other xenomorph-themed games feature eggs hidden in corners, under debris, or inside walls, often triggering jump-scare attacks. In Alien the RPG, hives and infested sites often include buried or half-sunken eggs in resin-filled corridors or collapsed buildings. Buried ovomorphs may be naturally hidden due to collapse, decay, or terrain, like ancient hives or derelict ships overtaken by nature, or they might be intentionally camouflaged by drones or queens using hive resin to increase their ambush potential. Either that, or they're left behind from earlier infestations, still active and still deadly. The idea of buried eggs feeds into the deepest themes of the Alien franchise, that no place is safe. Even long-abandoned worlds might hide death beneath the surface. Hive Egg Cluster. These little guys are among the most terrifying and iconic visuals in the Alien franchise. Rows of ominous leathery eggs silently waiting to bring death and rebirth. The Hive Egg Cluster is a formation of multiple xenomorph ovomorphs grouped in a centralized hive-based structure, often near or around a queen xenomorph. These clusters serve as the primary reproductive hubs of a hive, producing a dense concentration of facehugger-carrying eggs in a single area to maximize host infection and infestation speed. They're positioned in dense formations, rows, rings, or piles within the inner sanctum of the hive. Organic resin, secreted by xenomorphs, surrounds them to create structure and camouflage. These clusters can contain dozens or even hundreds of eggs, depending on the size of the hive and the availability of hosts. The queen basically lays them out via her ovipositor. Each egg contains a fully viable facehugger ready to activate. The hosts can be brought directly to the egg chamber, minimizing time and risk. There's continuous egg production that ensures the hive can grow rapidly and replenish losses. It's located deep within the hive. Egg clusters are heavily protected, often by multiple drones, warriors, and even praetorians. Their appearances in the films are noteworthy. In Aliens, the most iconic egg cluster appears in the Queen's chamber on LV-426. Rows of eggs are seen surrounding the Queen's egg sac, forming a terrifying field of death. When Ripley enters with Newt, she sees the massive egg-laying operation on full scale. In Alien Resurrection from 1997, the cloned queen produces eggs inside a human-engineered hive facility. Egg clusters are shown along hive walls and corridors, used for rapid breeding and infection. In Alien Isolation, egg clusters can be found in the Xenomorph hive aboard Sevastopol Station. Each is a threat zone with active facehuggers and potential infection triggers. The hive's strategy is to cocoon hosts near clusters for direct access by facehuggers. The dangers of the hive egg cluster are that if you disturb one egg, it can trigger multiple others to open, overwhelming a target. They're often placed near choke points or hive cores, making escape difficult once a host is inside. And what could be scarier than seeing dozens of pulsing, living eggs, conveying the inescapable scale of the threat? The cluster doesn't hunt, it waits. And when it opens, it's already too late. Corrupted egg variant. These are typically found in derelict hives, lab settings, or zones exposed to alien bioweapons like the black goo pathogen. This variant is a dangerous and unstable form of the traditional xenomorph ovomorph, altered or degraded through environmental contamination, biological mutation, or experimentation gone wrong. These eggs appear malformed, partially inert, or functionally unpredictable, often housing mutated facehuggers or failing embryos. While it may still appear somewhat similar to a typical ovomorph, it displays visual signs of decay or mutation. The facehugger inside may behave erratically, or worse, be something else entirely. They appear with a warped shape, uneven texture, diseased coloration, leaking fluids, and they're often discolored, appearing blackened, greenish, veiny, or pale gray. Their weak or ruptured shell may appear half open, rotting, or melted. They may fail to open at random, or leak fluids that are toxic. They could also contain mutated facehuggers, dead embryos, or spore-like matter. They emit a foul smell, ooze acid, and produce biological waste. The big question is, how do the eggs become corrupted? We have 4 different answers. The first is exposure to the black goo, an accelerant pathogen. This is seen in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. The black goo mutates living matter unpredictably. An ovomorph is contaminated, facehugger or embryo could become unstable, hybridized, or it could completely fail. The second theory is that they could be failed genetic experiments, attempts to clone or replicate eggs like Weyland-Yutani or David's experiments, which can result in corrupted specimens. Faulty DNA or synthetic errors may lead to non-viable or grotesque variants. The third theory is environmental breakdown. Eggs left behind in abandoned or hostile environments like extreme heat, radiation, or chemical exposure may begin to degrade. Their gel leaks, their shell weakens, and the organism inside becomes malformed. Fourth theory, and perhaps the most disturbing, is parasitic cross-contamination. If infected with another alien species biology, the egg could mutate into a hybrid organism or create a non-standard xenomorph. The dangers of a corrupted egg are plentiful because it results in unpredictable behavior, such as opening when least expected or failing to open at all. They may spew toxic emissions. Corruption can spread to other eggs, threatening the integrity of an entire nest. In a corrupted hive, one egg could doom the entire colony by introducing unstable genetics or triggering a chain of failed infections. In Alien Cold Forge and Into the Charybdis, cloned and lab-grown xenomorphs sometimes result in unstable or unusable eggs, which are destroyed or isolated. In Alien Isolation, fan mods and custom content featuring corrupted egg designs, often with glowing veins, leaking fluid, or dead facehuggers, are available. In the Alien RPG, the campaign scenarios may involve unstable hive remnants where explorers discover malfunctioning or decayed eggs, often paired with new threats. In the Alien universe, not all horror follows the pattern, and some horrors are the result of trying to rewrite it. Marvelous verdict! The very fact that there are so many types of xenomorph eggs speaks volumes about how important the species is. Creation of the xenomorphs has been made so varied to reflect the fact that they are extremely important to the franchise, because without them, the franchise doesn't really exist. What's really interesting is that just like diamonds that are slowly adapting to their lab-grown environment, the franchise is preparing its fans to experience both the natural and the artificial form, lab-grown, Xenomorphs. We call Xenomorphs the black diamonds of the franchise since they're the link to the existence of the franchise itself. To us, the most creative and terrifying egg is the Spore egg because we don't know how or when they'll attack. There's no way to protect yourself from them because of their camouflage and their ambush tactics. Even if you wear a protective suit, they can penetrate to attack, and that's horrifying. Which egg do you fear the most? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more horrifying insights, and we'll see you in our next marvelous video. Thanks for watching.